Yeah.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip Committee of the Whole meeting. Today's Monday, September 9th, 2024, and we'll call this meeting in order at 7:30 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Juarez-Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin? Here. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Navas-Barza? Here. Trustee Parada?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So tonight is a Village Committee meeting. We won't be rendering any final decisions this evening, but we do have some matters to discuss. We've got people in the audience that came out today to make presentations. Trustees, I'm always trying to be cognizant or considerate of other people's time, so I'd like to call folks up out of order. And
Do the bid opening first.
oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. That's right. We had a bid opening that didn't make the agenda, but there's, we do have it. It wasn't on our agenda, but it is listed, so it is a committee meeting, and I'd like to acknowledge the bids that came in tonight, too.
So this is a bid opening for patch and crack sealing and seal coating on various village properties. We had two companies submit bids. The first one is Tiles and Style LLC, doing business as Taza Construction, located at 16940 Vincennes Avenue, South Holland, Illinois, 60473. There is a bid bond. And it looks like they separated the amounts.
The last page.
This one?
Yeah, there should be a check.
Because there's three different things on here.
Correct.
So this very bottom one, is that the total then? Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like talking about different locations. Okay. So for this one, the total bid amount is $303,082.78. So that's 303,082.78. And the second one is from McGill Construction LLC, located at 21227 South 80th Avenue, Frankfort, Illinois, 60423. There is a bid bond. And their total amount is $150,131.54. Excuse me. That's 150,131.54. And those were the only bids that we received.
Very good. Quite a difference there, Raj. You're going to have to qualify those ones. Make sure everybody's... I saw you do the walkthrough last Friday, and just make sure everybody saw what you saw and stuff, that's all. So, all right. All right, as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, I'll call, well, we'll defer to each committee as we go, just to hear these presentations. First, on my report this evening was a presentation by a cannabis distribution company requesting an amendment of Alsip zoning ordinance number 2019-12-3, providing for regulation of cannabis organizations by changing the zoning designation from industrial district to business district for dispensaries only. Keith, are you in the crowd? Keith McGinnis. Keith, you want to take the microphone, please? And certainly introduce yourself and what your intent was.
Keith McGinnis, I'm involved in marijuana dispensaries in Illinois, as well as a large cultivation in Illinois as well. And thank you to the Village of Alsip for hearing me out tonight. As the mayor mentioned, I'm looking for a change in ordinance that would allow it to go from industrial to the business area for a dispensary. Have buildings in mind already, and obviously that would be all based on contingent of if you'd allow for the move to happen. Understanding the process. Myself, I got into business in Illinois from day one. I was one of the original winners of the large cultivation up in Freeport, Illinois. I sold that one and then built 6 dispensaries under the name of A New Era, and got out of the, as I was in New Era, I turned around and bought another cultivation, a large-scale cultivation, which I currently operate as Legacy, Illinois. And now, as of this morning, just got my 3rd dispensary opened up and allowed by the state of Illinois in Elgin, Illinois. The other 2 that I currently have running are in Darien and Norma, Illinois. I'm looking to get to 10 dispensaries. Without bragging here, I'm very well versed in everything it takes in the state of Illinois to get this done, and I would hope to ask the village that they take a look at making up another way to pick up some of the tax money you lost, is what it is. Industrial area, this is all the business-oriented side of it. Not that originally there were a few in the industrial areas in Illinois. Most of them have since moved to the business district. The business itself is all about population, car count, traffic, to make sure they know where you are. I will say, haven't had any problem. I know I have some police officers sitting here as well. If they have found out anything in the local areas that have caused issues with marijuana dispensaries, I'd be glad to hear them and see what they are and go from there. But knock on wood, I haven't had any problems with it. Each one of these dispensaries will employ about 17 to 20 people, some part-time, some full-time. Currently have 75 people working for Legacy Illinois Cultivation in Rochelle, Illinois. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
So, Board, I did look up what Mr. McGinnis was referring to as legacy products, and you're represented in over 100 dispensaries across Illinois right now.
Right, there's I think they're close to having 200 licenses statewide, and as a month and a half ago, we were in 90% of them with our product.
Certainly, this industry is just, since it was first introduced, even ourselves, we've got some very restrictive ordinances. Ours isn't that bad with just, and I do like some of the provisions in here where it needs to be like a standalone store. It can't be in a strip mall and things like that. We're not going to supposedly jeopardize possible other tenants like in strip malls and things like that, which is a great thing. Certainly, we're going to still adhere to the 1,000-foot rule for certain markers and distances from schools and parks and all that. That's always important for anybody. But trustees, the most important aspect of this is the fact that we zone this light industrial to begin with, and Keith still needs to go in front of the Planning Commission to ask for a special use permit, but before even asking for something like that, the question to the board is, would the board be willing to amend the zoning ordinance from what's now known as industrial to business? Because as we said, none of these businesses are going into an industrial park. They want to be pronounced in a main street and so forth yet too. And everywhere you look, I'm not going to get into it, but they're on Cicero, they're on Western Avenue, they're on LaGrange Road, you name it. They're all over the place. They're on main streets around here in the south suburbs yet too. So that's what basically, again, we've got an interested party in front of us tonight that wants to develop a cannabis dispensary organization to be represented in our community. But again, the question is whether or not the board would agree to amending the zoning from industrial to business. And we can still certainly let everything take, play its course protocol-wise by going through plan zoning for the special use. So that's all up to them to bring back to us anyway. We don't want to get in front of that process, but are we interested in amending our zoning ordinance is the question. Anybody have any questions for Keith?
Just what kind of security do you typically have at your locations?
Right now, by state law, Illinois law, you have to have 2 security people on site at all times during hours of operation. The security system that is used based off of what cameras and everything that are required by the state, meeting their requirements. It's the most expensive part about the whole system, to tell you the truth. That's how you're online at all times. We can have access to the police station. They can see what's going on inside there as well. So it's all well monitored.
Anybody else? You guys have questions over here?
When it was first brought out, I had requested a current zoning map, so we'd be able to identify what that really means by business district. And the other caveats are going to be, obviously, is that where it's going to be proposed adjacent to. So I don't know what the current climate is of other businesses. I don't know if they would be for or against. Obviously, the revenue aspect is the caveat that everyone looks towards, but there's always 2 edges to a sword.
I think what we can do, trustee, as far as that goes too, is before we, again, when it comes to the Planning and Zoning Commission, certainly there's got to be signage that goes up near where the intended location, which I don't want to disclose yet, but the intended location that you have would be, that's how they would play out in the Plan Commission. But certainly I can get you another map.
I mean, the only one we have is that which I think I printed.
No, I've got a GIS in the hallway here that I can get you a smaller version of.
I mean, I do remember seeing a map back when we first passed the original ordinance.
We do.
Of exactly the yellow boxes of
Yeah,
where.
no, I've got one in the hallway back here by the offices and stuff. But I can get you something desktop-wise, no problem. So what I'd like to do, Keith, is let me get that information to the board, and I'll bring this back to them next week and ask the question to the board at that time, would the board be willing to amend that ordinance? And then you've got direction to go back to the Plan Commission as well, too, file for the location that you're interested in, and let everything play its course as it should. I don't want to interfere with what they do, because they're going to make a recommendation to us at the same time then, too. But we're just looking at the legislative side of it. As far as ordinance goes, do we want to amend that ordinance? So I'll let everybody digest what we talked about tonight. I don't want to hammer it, but totally appreciate the opportunity to work with you on this, and we'll do more during the week with everybody then, too. And certainly if you have anything else to offer, please send it to my office, and I'll share it with the board as well then, too, okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, if you would, Keith, you just signed that you spoke to us? Oh, please.
I have to answer any questions.
Absolutely. If you want to leave a card for everybody, sure.
And if you could maybe share pictures of maybe some of your other locations to help us get a visual of.
That would be great.
Okay. Give me 1 second, please. Let me just make a note here.
You asked, did I disclose that now? You asked me for those names now. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
No, just some pictures. That's all. And you can send those to the mayor's office. And
Keith, would that be under legacy when you look at over those pictures, or
Or
new era?
Legacy is the cultivation. The dispensaries, the most recent ones are New High Haven. Look under those. That's Darien location.
High Haven?
High Haven.
Okay.
And I'll disclose right now, if coming in here was a dispensary, the name of it wouldn't be High Haven. We would
Okay.
choose a different name.
Okay.
Okay. Those are in Darien, Normal, and this morning, Elgin.
Okay. Very good. Thank you again.
Thank you, everyone.
Next, trustees, I want to go a little bit out of order. Let's go down to ordinance legislation. Trustee Parada, can you speak to that?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a request for approval of an ordinance authorizing an agreement of the Village of Alsip with 12549 South Laramie LLC with respect to the property located at 5160 West, 125th Place, Alsip, Illinois, PIN numbers 24-28-400-074-1008, and also 1009, and also 1010. Next, I have a request for approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip approving the renewal of the Class 6B assessment status for the real estate located at 5160 West, 125th Place, Alsip, Illinois, and with respect to the same PIN numbers as I mentioned before. Is there somebody here to...
That's what I was just going to ask. Is somebody here tonight? Sir, come on up.
Good evening. John Fitzgerald on
So-
behalf of the petitioner in this matter. That'll be 12549 South Laramie LLC.
And John, yeah, thanks for coming out. I recognized you when I walked in. I apologize. Everything. Thanks for coming out tonight. Trustees, John, which company is this again, too? I forget.
Which company is
Yeah,
in
this
it?
property belongs to, I forget.
The name of the tenant is Raven Trucking.
Okay, okay. But we've got a 6B with these folks already and stuff then over there, too. Okay. And it's up for renewal, and what you're looking at, trustees, is the service fee agreement to be approved, as well as the 6B renewal at the same time. John, let me just real quick get this up on my screen here. That John, maybe you can speak to it. Any major changes or anything like that they're doing with this organization?
Change of the use. you mean?
Yeah.
There's industrial fabrication and maintenance of over-the-road tractors.
John, you know what? Make sure we're talking about the same. This is the 6B, like you said, at 5160 125th Place?
Yes.
Okay. Because we have another one on the docket that's like a block away from there, 5125 123rd Street. Is there somebody here from that? Is that you fellows? Okay, no problem. Thank you. As I said, we got back-to-back companies right in that same industrial park. Trustees, any question for Mr. Fitzgerald? None? Our attorney, Vince Kankar, actually forwarded this, asked us to put it on here, just in case, and Vince was,
Communication.
yeah, Vince was good with the agreement. Obviously, your client is okay with the agreement as well,
Yes, he
too,
is.
then, too? Okay. And then, that's fine. Trustees, any questions for Mr. Fitzgerald?
Is there going to be any change in the business, or is there any expansion, or anything with employees? Will there be more? Will there be less?
There's 4 full-time employees right now. I think there's always going to be a need for more room. It's a very successful business. So, perhaps I can't tell what's going to happen in the future, but I would believe that they're going to need more room eventually.
Very good. Mr. Fitzgerald, I know you represent a lot of clients with land use and certainly tax issues and so forth, so we appreciate you representing this particular company. Didn't throw up any red flags here, and Mr. Vince Kankar, our attorney, didn't say there was any issues with this as well, too. So I'll place this on the agenda next week, asking the board to approve your request for this, okay?
Yeah, great.
Okay.
The original
Thank
6B was how long there?
Was that a 12-year on that, too?
12 years.
Yeah.
And we're looking for a renewal for the same period?
Pardon me?
Looking for a renewal for the same period of time? So in 12 years, there's been no change in the business, no change in the employment, and we're looking for the future of 12 years for maybe something.
Right. Okay.
All set?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
John, can you sign in there just so you spoke to the board tonight? Next, under Planning and Zoning and Licenses Committee, can you speak to that?
We have discussion of case number 2024-08-S-300 for special use truck repair for the property located at 5125 West 123rd Street in Alsip. Public hearing was held on Wednesday, August 14th by the Planning and Zoning Commission with a vote of 3-2 in favor of.
So, gentlemen, can somebody come up to speak to this then, too? We all saw in our packets, we got these digital, so we saw the transcripts and everything. Sure, do you have something you want to share with the board? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you mind if I?
Oh, go ahead. So we saw the transcripts for what took place at the Plan Commission hearing, the questions back and forth and whatnot. I'll let you speak to this, and it looks as though you're purchasing property that currently is used for the same use? Is that what it is?
So it's currently a lease. Mayor, there's I'm Mike Freitag, Mayor, trustees, good evening. I'm the broker involved in the transaction. Nick is actually the proposed subtenant, so I wanted to provide kind of a little background.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Of what's going on, then I'll let Nick speak and answer any questions specific to the operating company. So you are correct, Mayor, there is currently a tenant in both of these spaces, the same tenant that has a lease in place for roughly 4 years. They are out of the space, and Nick and his company, United S, would be a subtenant backfilling with a similar type use.
Mike, this is a great overshot here, too. This is, I mean, it doesn't do it justice if you do like a Google map. You're looking at 5125, which is the building, but Nick, you're looking to take on all this property, too, huh?
Yeah, just that portion that's marked as a yellow color on like southeast.
Right, I mean,
14,000.
14,000 square feet? Huh?
14,000.
Okay.
So it's a multi-tenant building. They'd be taking the southeast corner, plus or minus 14,000 square feet, as well as the adjacent fenced and secured existing trailer yard.
How many trailers are in that yard right now, Mike, do you know?
It looks like a lot.
So this is an old aerial. Currently, the former tenant has, I would say, maybe 30 left, and those are actually going to auction. So, Nick, I believe you have, 60-ish trucks.
Yeah, 60 or 70 trucks.
So, Nick, when your drivers, say, for instance, when they're on the road, because I read your platform, and it just say you've got a pretty big brokerage operation going on there too for the over-the-road trucks. What do they do? Swap out their car for the trailer, or where do they park their cars then too?
Yeah, the car's supposed to be parked at 5100.
Gotcha. Okay.
Over there. So only these parking spaces that marked yellow
Mhm.
by the building, that's only for office stuff.
Okay.
And we have about 12 full-time job employees.
Okay.
And then, Mayor, to answer your question on the brokerage and the trailers, typically over-the-road drivers will swap out a truck when they take it long haul, leave an auto in its place, and then they could be gone for an extended period of time, and then
Right.
when they return, switch back out.
Let me defer to our building commissioner too. Roger, any issues with the land? Have you looked at all this and everything too?
I did look at it. I've had no issues with the previous tenant, Maybach MG. I had good contacts there. Nick reached out to me probably December, January this year, letting us know that he was looking to sublease from MG Maybach, and went through all the proper channels, did everything that we asked, and I think he would be a good tenant for that and would be a good fit for that location.
Okay, so Nick, you're going to be leasing this property then?
Yes,
From
sir.
Maybach? Okay. Maybe I can defer to police, if you guys want to see this, if you're familiar with it. You got an extra one, Mike, if you can share? Lieutenants, any issues or anything you see, you ever have any issues with the properties out there, or anything that needs to be introduced that you think, any issues we've had over the years?
Nothing major comes to mind.
Okay. Okay. Certainly I want to defer to you guys with you being here, and I know you got a lot of experience here with the village and stuff yet too, but I know that I know of, as the commissioner said, I haven't had any real issues with the tenant. You know, Maybach is a good company and all that. I haven't heard of anything come across my desk anyway. I don't want to dominate the conversation. Trustees, did you have any questions?
Hey, Nick, this lot, how many trailers can fit in that lot in total?
I believe like 125.
125.
125 truck and trailers, I believe.
And I read some paperwork in the packet that you plan on having 81 employees,
That's including the drivers.
including the drivers.
The drivers that pretty much gonna park the autos over there and run trucks, and they gonna be on over the road. So we have all over the road drivers, the meaning they go on the road for a couple weeks and coming back maybe for a week on personal time. So they're not regional or local. They go on the road and come back in probably 2 or 3 weeks.
As far as the previous business that was there, how many tractor trailers would be parked there or be operating out of that business, do you know?
I believe at one point he had over 430 trailers, but again, over the road, and then he was storing upwards of 100 plus the bobtails on site.
So your business is going to be a smaller scale compared to what I'm hearing now?
Yeah, way
Okay.
smaller, yeah.
Mr. Freitag, is obviously the lease and everything contingent on approval of this and everything then too? Okay.
So we're in a position, we wanted to obviously respect the village's process. Everything was negotiated subject to the proper approvals.
Sure. No, certainly, Nick, I wish you luck in it. I wish you well in this thing. You know, it's a lot to take on and stuff, but it sounds like with 81 trucks running all the time with brokerage and stuff then too, it's good. So,
And I'd say an overall, I mean, like Roger said, it's a good location for it. I mean, we're talking right across the street from Coca-Cola. That's already an area where there is a lot of truck traffic, and I mean, the area is used to it. It's not as if you're going to be introducing, you know, an overflow of additional trucks coming in. It's something that's, I say, standard practice for that location.
any other questions, trustees? Gentlemen, as I said before, we'll place this on the agenda next week at a board meeting, asking for approval on this. But certainly appreciate your time tonight for coming out and everything then too, okay?
And especially sharing the overhead picture, that helps a lot.
Yeah, no, it really does. I mean, because like I said, when you do a Google map, I did before the meeting, it doesn't do it justice, but, you know, I mean, we're all familiar with this particular parcel, but, no, it's a lot to undertake, so good luck with that, okay? Okay, thank you. I think that's all I have for folks, and the agenda-wise here then, too. So I want to go back to our regular agenda. Number 2 under my report was a request for approval of an ordinance providing for the issue, it should be the issuance of not to exceed $7 million general obligation bond, Series 2024, of the Village of Alsip, Illinois, Cook County, and for the levy of a direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal and interest on said bonds. We did list out all of the possible, what the expenditures would be from this bond. Let me go right back up to it real quick. So what we had included in here was, this ordinance authorizes the village in the future to sell bonds in the amount not to exceed $7 million for the purposes of refunding a series, we still have a Series 2015 bond, and for future projects of the $7 million, about $2.7 million will be used for refunding, and 4.3 million will be used for projects. As mentioned, this is from our attorney Vince Kankar, purchase a fire department tower ladder truck, that's over $2.5 million. Purchase an ambulance, that's about $280,000. Neither have been appropriated in any budgets at this time. Replace a Department of Public Works roof, we did appropriate for that, and that work's taking place as we speak, right?
Correct.
Replace a 35-ton HVAC system over the police department. That has not been ordered or anything yet, though, too.
Not at this time.
Seal coat the village property parking lots, and again, we got to find out what's accurate, but that could be about $300,000 on that. I know we didn't think it was going to be as much, but I'm telling you, one of those guys saw more work than the other. Yeah, that's a typo. Yeah. Acquire personal property, including motor vehicles, fire vehicles, police vehicles, construction equipment, and computers. And then we also listed construct stormwater retention facilities, flood prevention facilities, streets, sidewalks, street lighting, storm sewers, and other municipal facilities. One project that is going to be of a hot topic is, Mike, what we talked about earlier today, is the ITEP grant that we're looking at. That's what, like a $3 million grant or more? $3 million. And it's an 80, right, and we're looking to pick up almost $1 million of that we can actually introduce more sidewalks in neighborhoods that don't currently have sidewalks. It's huge. I mean, because that was always something that, we never wanted to put a special assessment on the taxpayers to pay for. And if we can, if we can get through with the ITEP grant, with over 2/3 of that being picked up by, that's not a federal grant, right? That's a state grant, isn't it? Yeah. It's huge, that we can actually introduce more public safety, safe passage throughout the village. And that's what that study we're doing right now, too, with the bike and pedestrian path as well. So that could really possibly assist. But I know our engineer had some blocks laid out, but we'll talk about that as far as qualifying where they need to be. But, that'd be great if we can introduce more sidewalks in the community. Right now, it's a challenge. I mean, it's nice to see all the people. The weather's been great all summer. It's going to become the end. But exercise is a hot topic these days, and you're seeing more and more people out walking. And especially in, I live in a neighborhood, I know Trustee Navis Barza is in a neighborhood that lacks sidewalks and stuff yet, too. Everybody's out in the street, so the sidewalks will really be important to us.
I lived in a neighborhood that's fully sidewalked, and the people still walk down the middle of the street.
So, anyway, this can be a part of that too. If there's anything left over, let's put it that way. But I did have this on last week's agenda, and it failed for lack of 4 votes. We were a little short with trustees last week, so again, I wanted to put it on here for the board to take a look at and consider. And I'll bring this up next week in a board meeting for your consideration. One other thing I wanted to bring up tonight, too, was that, last week we talked, at the last board meeting I brought up, was I wanted to consolidate the public work and water departments. And I would just want to give a quick background to it. After the village was given written notice that the commissioner was retiring from the water department, he's leaving at the end of this month, the village did post and advertise to hire a new water commissioner, but due to the 25-mile residency restriction, the village did not secure that said hire. Plan B was to consolidate the public work and water departments, and after meeting certain opposition from the affected departments to assume this new responsibility. In other words, I don't have, not everybody's got the credentials to do this kind of work. The consolidation to take place may have to be considered at a later date. Additionally, Robinson Engineering gave me notice on Friday that they notify the village that their firm can provide an ROIC, in other words, a responsible operator in charge, as a consultant for the water department for up to 1 year at a cost of $9,450 per month. So that's $13,400 annually for 60 hours of work monthly to operate the village's water system per the terms of their contract. They will be on site 3 days per week for 4 or 5 hours a day. Oversight of water accounts are not included in this cost, but may be done by someone from their office other than the operator, who may be better suited to assist with this monitoring. What I'd like to ask the board tonight is consider a Plan C. And what I'm going to ask is that I feel it's necessary in the interest of public health, as HR and the Water Commissioner Triben have qualified some applications outside of the 25-mile residency requirement, and I'd like the board to consider lifting residency for this particular position based on public health. I'm telling you, we've seen too many situations in our country even where, we're talking about our water system here, and we got to have competent people. Right now we're talking about a consultant to help us, get by. We've got 2 qualified laborers who have certifications as water operators, but, I think the goal is to have somebody in place that can really oversee this operation full time. So it would, what I put on here was, it would be my wish to interview, it would be my wish to interview and make a job offer to possibly one of these candidates after we qualify them. But I need to ask the board tonight for consensus to, 1, allow the village attorney to draft an ordinance exempting residency for the water commissioner in the interest of public health, and 2, allow the allow the human resources manager to schedule interviews and make a job offer to a qualified applicant, as this hire should take place as soon as possible. Again, you know how it goes. We found in this 25-mile residency, in this particular skilled profession of being a responsible operator in charge for water, we didn't get anybody. So I think our back is against the wall here a little bit. I mean, what do? We can't have just a couple, just laborers doing this. Mike, you tell me too. You're over you're not in the water department, but, you tell me.
Yeah, I mean, the credentials are huge.
Mike, grab a mic, please, will you?
Certainly, the credentials that are needed for that position they're huge. So I unfortunately do not have those. My 32 years, I've never been asked to get that or look into
No,
it
you're
or
in the
anything like
public
that.
work department.
So, right. But as you said, it's a matter of public safety. I mean, you want somebody that's responsible for the safety of our drinking water as well as to the communities that we sell. So I think it's probably in the best interest to look outside for that.
Yeah, I mean, I know we try to hold on, we try to treat all the employees fairly, but I've run into a situation that we've been doing this for a few months, and we haven't gotten anybody. Right. And I need to try more. And that's why I said to everybody Thursday night, we met as a roundtable with all the affected departments, and, I asked Andy Triben on Friday night, he and I had a meeting kind of late. I says, are we missing some? Are we doing everything? He goes, no, you're hitting everything you can. He says, but we got to try something different. And the only other thing we can do is open up the hiring pool a little bit wider than what that's trustees, that's what I'm saying. We got to open this hiring pool up a little bit wider than 25 miles, because we did have a couple of applications in Illinois that both Commissioner Triben and HR liked, but we couldn't take, and we asked if they wanted to relocate, and they would not. Into the 25-mile circle. So I have to go to a Plan C. I got to try something else.
And I've been told that even engineering firms are having a hard time finding operators with those licenses as well to even help with consulting and stuff. That it's a very difficult find. So
There are certain jobs out there, and again, we've offered this position to even in-house who we thought might have been closely qualified. They're content with what they do. You know, I've got some guys that just like managing, you know, the construction of or the transmission of the water and all that kind of thing. But when it comes to a commissioner's position, these are sparse. You know, and trustees, when you look at the ads, you know, that are available online that you can see, there are towns like Shorewood and Schiller Park, and there's like 3 others. Everybody's trying to hire water commissioners right now. This is a major commodity, and much like actuarial sciences and stuff like that, I mean, these are necessities that everybody uses, and there's only a few of these guys out there right now, then, too. Even, seriously, even, you wouldn't think so? Even auditors. We just had a meeting with the auditing firm, and I talk to other mayors all the time, and it's a known fact through the state of Illinois. They're saying in rural areas, they are so far behind schedule, they're actually starting to give them a pass. They can't even get people to do them and stuff, in too, because these professions are just not being hit on. So, first off, before we go further, trustees, any questions on this? What do you think?
Just comments. I agree with in the interest of public safety, and as we've heard over the years of worst-case scenarios in the news, in regards to the mismanagement of water systems, I think the liability is there, and the impacts, you know, potentially could be very, very bad and negative. And in regards to the lifting the residency requirement, are we still going to restrict or have the individual still reside in the state of Illinois? Is that what you're proposing as well?
Yes, I would keep the Illinois residency. I would not open up to other states.
Okay.
Because we didn't do that for any other department and stuff yet, too. So let's keep it in Illinois. But I'd ask if we either exempt it or make the circle bigger, one of the two. I think exempting it is just an easier conversation.
I would be in favor of lifting, or perhaps not kind of like there should be some restriction in place too, I think, where someone can actually come and attend to like an emergency within a reasonable driving distance, factoring in other weather conditions and so forth like that. But I'm not sure if any other municipalities have just like an open slate or...
Well, this is only for this position. It's just for the manager, you know, for the the commissioner.
Yeah.
Everybody else still on your typical call-out list that they have to respond, like just as if Dan was on vacation right now. They're still got people available that have to answer those calls.
Okay.
No, but I think to Trustee Navarro-Esparz's point is, I mean, if it's a big issue, we need to make sure that the commissioner can get here, and then it's not an unreasonable drive, or it's not, you know, going to take him half a day to, you know, come in for an emergency.
Right. I doubt anybody, like anything else, you know, even when we measure these things, it's supposed to be as the crow flies. It's not supposed to be off wherever MapQuest says, you know, 35 miles, because, you know, that could be, or 25 miles, that can be, because the way even our ordinance reads, it's 25 miles from the village corporate limits. It doesn't say road-wise or anything like that, it's just 25 miles from the corporate limit. So.
Mayor, the 2 prospects that were potential, you know, employees or prospects, I'll say, how much further were they?
One person I know is, I didn't look at the exact address, but 34.5 miles.
So should we consider maybe going somewhere near that, just beyond that a little bit? Just want to open up to the whole state?
I would just exempt it, you know, because, again, you could be splitting hairs, and a lot of it could be straight, you know, expressway time that might not be as bad as you think then, too, you know.
So as long as 294 is under construction, it's even worse.
I'd have to agree with Trustee Parda, though. I think even if it's 40, we need that, I guess, like a cap of like what a reasonable driving distance or commute would be. I myself don't commute anymore, but I know when I did, just one minor accident and so forth like that, you know, over the years, it just kind of wears on you too. So I would be in favor of maybe like a 40-mile restriction or max or cap.
Well, I'm saying if we're going to cap it, I would put it at 50 miles maybe, just to be on the safe side, you know? This way you're not splitting hairs.
You know, Mayor, I travel in my job for a living, and it's more so the time of day of the commute that really kills you, because I would drive from downtown to Alsip, it'd be over an hour. I'd drive twice the distance from Kankakee to Alsip in half the time. So take that for what it's worth. I don't think it's so much the distance, but it's the travel, the gridlock.
Sure.
So
No, I said I had 2 different job experiences. One employer was only 15 miles away. Problem was, it was 15 miles straight down Cicero Avenue. There was no expressways, no other way to get there, and that 15 miles could be anywhere from 55 minutes to 90 minutes, depending
Candy
on...
company?
Yes, it was.
Yes, I worked there too.
Then, I say, subsequent job I had, it was actually 47 miles each way to get there, and I could do it in 45 minutes, because it was all expressway. And so the point of being, the mileage by itself doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. It is, what routes do they have to travel?
Right, it's like you're admitting to speeding.
No, not really. It was all expressway, 65 miles an hour.
Just going with the flow.
I don't even want to go there, yeah. So, it's
Mayor, do we know if the applicants that we were interested in, would they still be available? Do we know if they're still available if we were to expand our
I know
radius?
one of the 2 said yes so far. Yeah, he's still interested.
I mean, if we know if he's still available and he's willing to take the job, I mean, maybe we could just cap it at 50 miles at this point.
That's what I'm saying, rather than splitting hairs, just, you put a ballpark out there, So, if, anybody else? Then, at this time, trustees, I'd like to ask for a consensus from the board. Renee, I'll give you this paperwork.
Okay.
But to allow the village attorney to draft an ordinance amending residency to 50 miles. For the water commissioner, in the interest of public health, and to allow the human resource manager to schedule interviews and make a job offer to a qualified applicant, as this hire, like I said, as this should take place as soon as possible. That would be my request for a consensus.
Okay. Roll call number 1 for consensus. Trustee Dalzell?
The amendment, is this, when we advertised for it before, did we advertise the 25-mile radius?
We re-advertised last week, and we eliminated the 25-mile. On Friday, we changed the advertising.
Okay.
So it is open, like, in other words, for the next week or two until we hire somebody or whatever, there is no restriction on living at this time.
Okay.
In the advertisement.
Right.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
Is that a yes for your consensus
is,
as well?
yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Navas Barza?
Yes.
Trustee Paretta?
Yes.
You have your consensus.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll go to the rest of the reports. We'll go to Clerk Harding, the report.
Thank you, Mayor. The presentation of the September 3rd, 2024 board meeting minutes and the presentation of the August 2024 FOIA report. And that is all I had, Mayor.
Thank you. Mike, did you have anything from the engineer for tonight? No. Okay, I didn't either. Public forum, anyone in the audience wish to address the board? Do you have a question, young man? Hey, did you get an agenda when you came in?
Yeah.
Very good, okay. Next, we had the standing committee reports. We'll start with Finance and IT. Trustee McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor. I will have the usual list of payroll and accounts payable for approval next week, and that's all I have under finance at this time.
Okay, thank you. Fire committee, Trustee Murphy.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Okay, trustees, I know we're going to, Trustee Chief Stasinski said we're going to swear in, because he passed probation, Colin Young.
Yes.
He's going to be sworn in 6:30 Wednesday night at the Fire Station 1. Next, we have the Police and Traffic Safety Report. Trustee Del Sol.
Nothing for this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Lieutenants, anything you guys want to order? Ask for? Yeah. Next.
Order the chief back.
Next, we have the Public Work and Boat Launch Committee.
I have the presentation of the Public Works Department August 2024 monthly activity report. Next, I have the request for approval to advertise for bid of removal of approximately 150 parkway trees throughout various locations within the village due to disease, infestation, and/or tree is dead. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Sewer Water Report. Trustee Nava Esparza.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the presentation of the Water Department August 2024 monthly activity report, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Building and Health. Trustee Prada.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a presentation of the Building Department August 2024 monthly activity report. In that report, there were 188 permits issued. The amount collected, including inspector fees, were $59,119.25, and the estimated cost of construction is valued at $4,163,809. Roger, I see something. I see one permit issued for a brand-new home to be built. That's good to see.
We should have 3 more coming up.
Very good. 77 permits issued for residential re-roofing, and only 22 last year at the same period.
That would be
I
that
think Mother
dreaded
Nature had
hailstorm.
something to do with that. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we had Human Resource and Insurance. Trustee Murphy.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Trustee, I was going to let you know, HR told me today, by the way, we had a meeting this morning, was that the new HRIS program that the board agreed to should be introduced by the end of this month, like maybe the 25th. And certainly it's going to help us a lot with doing background checks, job advertisements, you name it. We're looking forward to working with the system real soon. Next, we have the Special Committee Reports, Economic Development. Trustee Nava Esparza.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no items this evening.
Okay, thank you. Village Properties. Trustee McGlowan.
I have nothing on the agenda for this evening, Mayor, but next week I will have the Heritage Complex monthly activity report.
Okay.
I didn't get it in on time on Friday, so.
Oh, no problem. And did anybody have any presentations, petitions, or
We do still have one more under planning and zoning.
that?
We did nine.
Oh, you're right,
item
thank you.
number one.
I'm looking at it right now. Go ahead, number 2.
So I have a presentation of a list of licenses dated August 12th of 2024 through September 6th of 2024. And within that stack, I would like to welcome Lucky Location, Inc., which will be the new gas station opening at 11458 South Cicero Avenue. So welcome them to the village.
Do you know, it's funny you bring, I think just tonight, I think they took the cones down. It looked like they were testing out the pumps over there at the new Shell gas station and stuff here, too. So hopefully it's good gas and it's a brand-new pump and all that kind of thing then, too. So we'll see what happens. Anybody have any presentations, petitions, or communications they wanted to share?
Mayor, did anybody hear or know about Union Pacific's big boy steam engine coming through our town?
No. I mean,
I was in my yard earlier this afternoon, and it has a very distinct whistle sound, and I know for sure. I told my wife, I says, that's a steam engine coming through our town. But I know for a fact that it did go through Blue Island. I saw some pictures earlier today.
When I went home to change for tonight's meeting, my wife told me, she goes, why didn't you announce it? I go, they didn't send us any
I
notification.
wish I would have known about that.
No,
Yeah,
she
that-
said there were people hanging out by the tracks on
Oh, yeah.
123rd Street taking pictures. Nobody notified us at all.
That would have been awesome to see.
Yeah.
I think it's heading to Texas and then ultimately Wyoming, I think is his hometown.
Somehow,
But-
at 6 o'clock when I was at home, it was in Watsika.
Yeah, it's all over the news. It's very unique
So,
and
no,
pretty cool.
unfortunately, they didn't give us any kind of heads up,
Yeah.
trustees, so I didn't see that either.
Yeah.
Any unfinished business, trustees?
Mayor, were you going to say, talk to the Fall Festival that's coming up?
Oh, yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. Please, if you're available, please join us September 21st. We've got yard signs throughout the village. It's our annual Fall Fest out there again this year. We're going to have, everyone really, I thought we'd go to something else, but everyone seems to enjoy those axe throwing and the, everything else that's taking place out there. I know Becky Smith was telling me they had a real good response with food trucks and so forth that are going to be out there this year. So it should be a really good event too. And again, this is a collaborative effort with the village and the library, parks, everybody else. All village taxing bodies are in on this yet too. So looking forward to it. And that runs like noon till 5 p.m. I believe, all afternoon on the 21st, Saturday. So 2 weeks they'll be out there.
Mayor, will there be live targets for the axe throwing?
Only if you want to hang out there.
All right, I understand. Thank you.
But you know what? They look like they're pretty good throws there too, Murph. You know, I mean, you'll see it coming. They don't use any live anything out there. But I tell you, have you ever seen that show?
No, I have not.
It's amazing. These guys, they got a pretty good arm. Next, any new business? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks much. We'll adjourn this meeting at 8:26 p.m. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. And thanks again, Board, for understanding the need for the Water Commissioner position.